Hello and welcome to Start the Beat with Sykes. My name is Sykes and this is my podcast. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who checked out the last episode. If you're one of those people, thanks so much for coming back. But for everyone out there who's new to the show, welcome. Feel free to make yourselves at home. And as always, there's beer and soda in the fridge. No drinks on the table right now. Can't cheers. It's all right. Not a big deal.
We do a mental cheers.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm sitting here today with my new friend. Is it okay if I say your government name or should I only refer to you by your stage name?
No, you can call me Eric.
I'm sitting here with my new friend, Eric,
Yeah.
AKA Vampire Disco Club. Make some noise for the internet. Woo! So before we get off into some nerdy gear synth tangent that I feel we're very much on the precipice of having already.
Definitely.
Let's just up top promo your shit.
Okay. Well, Vampire Disco Club started in March of this year, actually.
Nice.
I had another project that I was doing called Memory Cult, and I was just really kind of burned out on it after it was like a string of, 2 or 3 other things. And,
was it a solo project?
It was a solo project, but I had been in another band. So it was kind of like me figuring it out it was like after you go through a breakup and you go through it. That was my rebound relationship.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it was definitely like, no, I love you. I love you. I love you. But really I was thinking about the other person.
Was it the same kind of music?
No, it was a little bit more, I don't know, like kind of Tom Yorkish. Like
okay.
Very, like if Tom York was on Ghostly.
I gotcha.
That's what I was shooting for. It was like really like sad and super glitchy, like really like crazy, like 150 tracks per session and just like nutty, crazy stuff. So, so I had just moved out here, from LA in last fall. And I was like, man, I got to do something else. I'm just like, I hate what I'm doing right now. So Vampire Disco Club.
Got it. Yeah. Something a little more fun.
Yeah.
A little bit less like artistic, but not like,
less artsy.
Not that this isn't, you know
less
exactly
artsy.
what I mean.
No, for sure.
More like just like dance, have fun. Don't sweat over like, the literary deep meaning of this track.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly right. Memory Cult was like, it was definitely like, I'm a tortured artist and I'm in hell. And this is like the soundscape of it. And, I was just like, man, I got to do something else. You know what I mean? And Vampire Disco Club, initially came out of me saying that like, I'm going to write a love letter to LCD Sound System. And initially it was VDC. It had no name to it. So I kept calling it in my head VDC Sound System as like a little
little joke.
Yeah. And because I read in an interview that Dillinger Escape Plan, they were like, it's a love letter to Faith No More. And I was like, that's what they're doing this whole time? Like they're trying to be Faith No More? I'm like, I could try to be LCD Sound System instead of trying to be like this serious fucking weirdo. So that was it, man. Like March, I put the first track out. We got picked up by Kerrang. And then 2 days later, we were on lockdown. So,
fuck.
Yeah, man. It wasn't fun, but it was good because I actually just spent the last, this whole last time just like making an album and an EP, and some singles, and I just kind of got on the grind. I was like, okay, this is like the perfect time to get good at something new.
Absolutely.
Without, being one of those rise and grind guys who's like, you're wasting your time if you haven't started a new, it wasn't like that. It was just like, okay, well, what else am I going to do to stay sane? You know what I mean? Like, so I came up with this, including what you have up there, that EP, and then the more recent single, The Good Citizen, which the EP came out directly because of COVID and the election stuff and all the paranoia. I was online and, everybody's on Twitter, like talking about Bill Gates is going to put microchips in the vaccine. You know what I mean? Like all that crazy, that really reactionary paranoia. I was like, this is something that I got to write about. So, Eye in the Sky was the first track that came out of that.
Super cool.
Yeah.
So now not even a year old into this project. How are you feeling about, I guess, like this community of people that are doing music like this, you know, because it seems like it's maybe a little bit different from what you were doing before. I don't know, we can get into like the band shit and all that stuff, but like it's always interesting because my perspective on this is, you know, me and Indigo started Some Faith over a year ago, but we didn't start putting out music until this August.
Okay.
So we were kind of working really behind the scenes.
Developing.
Our first show was supposed to be April 1st.
Okay.
But then COVID and everything just kind of, we're like, well, okay, let's just record songs and make videos and do all that shit. Like, so like, pretty much all the stuff that we're releasing now is like all happening in COVID. Yeah. But the point that I was making was that one thing that I noticed, like coming out of, you know, my other bands that I have a death metal band and I have a hip hop project. Okay. And those are two very different communities. Sure. And like, it's really interesting now being in this like synth, goth, synth pop, dark wave, like this whole mixture of people. And it's like been really cool meeting people because there are a lot of like really friendly people that are excited about music in a way that like doesn't have the pretension that like a lot of the metal kids have. Sure. Or like the need for like newness that like a lot of the hip hop kids have, where it has to be new and fresh and
what's
it's
the
weird.
Next thing? Yeah.
It's like it's been very, very welcoming, and it's really interesting because we got to know each other through a group chat that we were all in. It was like put together by a mutual online friend of ours that's in like Mississippi or wherever he's at. He's somewhere,
Tennessee, somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere that's not 20 minutes away from me, which is where you're currently living.
Which is pretty
it's really funny. That's how like we got together.
Yeah, it's, you know, I mean, that's a good point, especially about the metal and the hip hop thing, because I've worked with both of those sort of communities too, and there is very much that feeling of like, metal's so about like purity, like communal purity, and then like hip hop is like always kind of, you know, yesterday's news is like not worth hearing about. It's been weird because I've kind of always been in the kind of goth electronic scene, just living in LA, like going all to the goth clubs and the like the after hours parties and stuff like that. That was my domain as far as like culture is concerned, but musically I was kind of like always in and out of that. Like I worked with a lot of pop people behind the scenes for like labels and like mainstream artists. So when I decided to do this project, it's been weird because I don't think it's clicked yet with people, like the sound that I'm doing. I think people kind of are like, oh, like maybe I recognize you from this band, or you know this guy, you know. But I don't think the sound has connected yet, because people are like, oh, you have like a cool dark look, but this is like kind of like sassy and fun, you know what I mean?
Sure.
People keep saying that to me. They're like, this, like, it's kind of like too fun.
It's like you know, when I listen to it, you know, it's very like there's like a theater element to it that's very like cinematic and like over the top and like look at me, which is like, but cool.
I did that intentionally because that is who I am. Like well, I did an interview with the guy who put us together, Darkness Calling, and he said the same thing. He was like, why, like, where does this like kind of character come from? And I'm like, well, that's actually just, this is the real me. Like whenever I do like a kind of weird thing, like that's just me doing that shit all the time anyways. This was the first project I've been in where I decided to really make that like the driving element, you know what I mean? So the reception has been really good as far as like people are super nice. Everybody's like, oh my God, like what are you doing? You should know this person and this person. And, you know, just like how we got introduced. Oh, like you're doing this. Well, you should meet, you know. So I'm really thankful for that, because like what a way to be embraced rather than, you know, having to force your way into something. But I think musically, I think it's going to take, I think once I put the album out, there's going to be I anticipate a little bit of a lag, because people are not going to anticipate what the sound is. Sure. You know what I mean? Like I've really taken this time where even The Good Citizen, if you listen to that and then you listen to New Romance and you listen to the first single, Ruby Veins, like there's a through line, but it's the only through line is me being, you know, myself. And then what happens next is going to be, I think, weirder than people are anticipating, and like really kind of going more, you know, if George Clinton was goth, that's what I want this to turn into. You know what I mean? Like, I want it to get weirder.
So it's like the Vampire Funk Club.
Yeah, I want it to be like the name, even the name, just like that. I was like, what would vampires listen to at a disco club?
I feel like if you like really like just look at the name and digest it, it's like, oh, this sound makes sense.
Right. And I wanted that to have, because like before when I did Memory Cult, it was like, what is a memory cult? And then you hear the music and you're like, it's all disjointed and like bleep, blop, bloop, you know, and I'm like, like weird voices. With this one, I was like the look, the sound, it has to be me 100%. It has to be like who I am. And I'm like, well, who am I? You know what I mean? So it's obviously it's this, but yeah, I don't know. I'm getting off from the original question. It's kind of, I can relate, because whenever me and Indigo finally dropped the Some Faith stuff, there was some people that knew about it because I'd been talking about it on the podcast for a while and seeing people, what are you up to? I'm like, well, I'm doing this Darkwave project. They're like, oh, really? And it was kind of a surprise, because I think a lot of people were used to hearing me, you know, doing death metal or doing hip hop. But like way before I was in metal bands or way before I was doing rap stuff, I was doing industrial music. That was like the first stuff that I was doing. Okay. So like this was like very much more of like a return to form. Right. Honestly. And I'd been wanting to do a project like this for a really long time. It was just a matter of like having the right team and the right reason to do it. Right. And then like me and Indigo met pretty much through like that local gothy sort of scene. Like, you know, we're in a lot of different pockets musically, and while we weren't doing anything musically like to be a part of the culture, that was still like, oh, we go to those nights, we hang out at those places, and we're friends with those people. So it's cool to finally be able to like be a part of it, and I like it. I've been having fun, and everybody's so cool. Yeah, everybody's super nice. I want to contribute more. I think that's the thing. I think that's also the thing. The other part of this is that like I realized before that I was so hell-bent on being solitary and being that expressing that torturedness and being such a serious person that, you know, it's like one of those things where you go, okay, this person's serious all the time, you know, but then you hang out with that person and you go, well, actually, like they're not really as dark maybe as you think they are. But I think I started to buy into my own like creative hype. Whereas now, like, I do want to be more a part of that community. I want to reach out more. I'm like, oh, like, how do I, you know, promo somebody's stuff? Even like I was talking to you before when I rolled up about like, I was watching your video and then I was like, well, I'm going to watch this video again because I like it. And then I'm like, yeah, you know, I should really be doing this more. Like I should be finding people and like really, you know, not just liking it, not just watching it once, but really like engaging in it consciously and getting to become a fan of the people that you become friends with, you know, because there's always that thing where like once you know somebody, a little bit of the mystique goes away of like their creative thing. Yeah. That's why I try not to meet any of my heroes ever. Because I'm like, I don't want to know Tom. You know what I mean? Like, like I want to know, you know, the person on stage. And but now I'm like mature. I've matured past that. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like I can be a fan and a friend and really like just dig what they bring to the table. And then I think that's, you know, the opportunity that I'm really thankful for with all of this is to be like, oh, cool. Like I'm a part of this community and I feel like I can support my friends and be a fan at the same time and not feel like too cool, too in or too alienated. You know what I mean? Yeah. Too in or too out. I'm just like right there in the periphery, like right in the middle of it. So you mentioned, you know, you have a background playing in bands, you have a background working with other musicians and all of these things, you know, a lot of teamwork and a lot of collaboration. Right. Now you're on your own. Fuck the world. Yeah. How is it now? Do you feel like being a solo artist and handling so much of this stuff yourself versus all of the collaboration aspects of being a musician? I think it's very daunting when it comes to the way the world's changed. You know, there's always that aspect of like, you know, this guy's really good at art and this guy's really good at, you know, making phone calls and this guy's like, you know what I mean? Like, so having to do all of that. And just like you were saying with like COVID, like you were supposed to play your first show in April, like this was the first time that I really had to book shows on, like, cause normally I was always the songwriter or the whatever. And managerial stuff was never my, like, that's not me. Like like, I'm good if you put me in a studio and then I'm good on stage. And then besides that, I'm gnarly incompetent. So it's just like doing all of that stuff and then trying to think of like, well, I got to find an artist for this song. And, you know, maybe I should consider a video soon. And, you know, like what would it, even when I talk to people, they're like, well, what do you want the art to look like? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, what do you think? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what does the song inspire? You know, because really in my head, I'm like, how do I do all these different things? I already play every instrument on the record and mix it and produce it and write the songs. Like, how do I, like, how could I possibly conceive of all of this stuff? So I'm still figuring that out. But I think also I'm excited because I no longer feel pressure. Whereas before I felt this like immense pressure to like, I got to write a new song. I got to like write a hit. I got to write a, you know, I got to be practicing constantly. And like now there's a lot more like extended just jam time, like with myself where I'm like, I'm just going to hit a kick drum on a pad for hours and nobody can stop me. You know what I mean? Like, so there's more freedom, obviously, but also there's more, you know, just more work to do. Like, but it's more, I don't know, it's rewarding. I think eventually I don't want to jinx myself, but eventually I might get a teammate, like a bandmate. Yeah. Or somebody who can, I can offload some of that work onto creatively, or outside of the creative zone to kind of, you know, help, just help me expand. Really, if I had more hands, I would just be doing more. It's not like I would, you know, give somebody half the work and then do the same amount. Sure. You know what I mean? It's only, I only want to expand to expand.
You know, that's the one thing that I love the most about this new breed of like young rap kids. Yeah. Because a lot of the younger rappers that I have on the show that I meet, they never come alone. They always have 2 or 3 people with them. One person's like their homie that's like filming and like getting video for everything, just generating content. One person's like a manager. One person is, you know, like they have like these teams of people that are just like, they're there. They're just down to hang out. Like they're all friends. They know their one homie has like the skill. But then they're all like, well, we're here. We're going to ride with you and we'll make this work. I see it happen so much, but only in that community, really. Like I never see like any metal bands that have like friends hanging out with them that are like, hey, we're gonna be your social media team, right? Which I mean, like, why not? It's not as if like promoting a metal band or promoting a folk band, or it's all the same. You're all using the internet.
Yeah, and you all want the same end result too. Like you want fans. I think that's the thing that is like that took me a long time, and that's why I created this project. Was like there's like a lot of like those kind of, you know, sometimes you think you're like too not good, but like you're too serious.
Oh, it's like it's like the counterproductive mentality of being DIY.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. No, you're constantly stepping on your own foot because you're like, well, like this has to be the most pure, authentic thing. And you're like, okay, well, what does that mean to you? Like, are you making like inauthentic music before this? Like, what does that mean? Like, and really, I think it's just like a, it's believing in the lie. I was talking to my brother about this because he's a producer, and it's the same thing with like Nirvana. Like people always think about Nirvana and they think like this was this mysterious dark thing. And you're like, no way, dude. Like they knew what they were doing from day one. Like there's no way Kurt Cobain went into that and didn't know exactly what the fuck he was doing. Sure. Like nobody writes Nevermind, like the most polished pop rock record of all time, and sells, you know, God knows how many, 7 million records. Like maybe he couldn't handle it. I understand that. Maybe those demons were real, but I don't think that he went in there and was like, I just don't really want people to pay attention. I'm just doing this all for myself.
I think it was, you know, probably a happy accident. I imagine that they were very well aware that like these songs fucking rip. Right. And everybody in the studio that was, you know, producing and engineering was probably like, wow, this sounds really good. Yeah. But who could have predicted that it was going to be like what it was? That's fucking nuts.
Nobody ever knows. Yeah, that. But I think at the same time, though, like going into it ahead of it, it wasn't just like some garage band that you found down the road.
Oh,
just like, you know, we didn't even mean to be a band. We were just jamming because it was our poetry. You know what I mean? Like, no, there was an intent.
And also a time and place, because, you know, so much, I think, of a band's success really revolves around their environment in that time and place.
Sure.
And I mean,
yeah, you're catching
Seattle
a wave.
at that time was just, you know, electric.
Yeah. And that's what I mean is, so it's all of those things. It's all those things. So now it's like, I'm just trying to, you know, yeah, I mean, I would love to have a crew of dudes who are like, hey, or women or whoever, who's just like, who's like, yeah, like you know, you got the juice and we all want to help you, you know, we all want to help you get it out there. So,
same.
Yeah. And I think that like now, like we have an opportunity with the internet and with everything, you know, social media, to meet like this and to really, cause this is how they do it out in LA. It's like 3 or 4 bands are like friends, and, you know, they all play in each other's bands. It's always like one solo artist, and then all the band members are made up of other solo artists. One guy can play drums, and, you know, and then they all, and I've seen this a lot, like there'll be 4 bands on a bill and they're all playing in each other's bands.
Yeah, that happens here too.
Night. Yeah. So I think that does exist in like outside of the hip hop community. It just needs to be more recognized and developed, or like more self-aware. Because just like you said, if it's already happening here, really there's just a conversation at some point where you go, hey man, like you're really good at shooting video. What if you did that for this thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like this guy's awesome at making t-shirt design. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, I think there's just a place where you go like, one of us obviously is really good at one thing. And like that, we could make this a bigger, more purposeful team if we just sort of jump in there and support each other, you know, consciously.
Yeah, I feel like there's always so much more, depending on what level you want to get to. Like everybody wants to be here, right? But there's many levels underneath that, obviously. But the amount of work that you need to do to get to each of those levels like requires things that I think people typically don't think of. Sure. Like having these conversations, having the thing about like business, sitting down like, well, we're not going to practice today. Today, we're going to talk about social media marketing strategy or music videos, or having that awkward conversation where you got to tell, you know, the person in your band to stop wearing those ugly jeans at shows, because it's like, you don't want to be that dude. Yeah. Because it's like, it sounds so dumb, but it's like the dumb thing is it actually does matter. 100%. How you look, how you present yourself matters. Yeah. I mean, and it's, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, I was just to say, I mean, like, it's so weird too, especially being like, you know, in a metal band with a bunch of just like, you know,
metal, like
grimy dudes. But it's like, there's a very specific nuance to this and a very specific package that people want. Even people that want to say that they don't like packaged things, they still want a package. Like they're all wearing fucking denim vests with the same patches on. Of course, they like packaged things.
Well, that's like black metal is the best example of that. Yeah, it's like it's not true cult, and you're like, well, that is a very narrow, very specific lane that like if you don't fit into this really, and it's like, well, that's the most packaged thing you could be. Not that it doesn't come from an authentic place artistically, but like, come on, man, like nothing's true cult except for this one, you know, like this is the most real. So I think that kind of stuff will die off eventually. And I think it will be replaced with what we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that mentality ever dies. I just think that people that practice that mentality fade away, but they're replaced by
that's
new people that have the same mentality.
Yeah, that's probably true. I think about the echelon thing though a lot, like you're saying, and like I never wanted to be, even when I was younger and I was doing other stuff, I never wanted to be like Taylor Swift. You know what I mean? Like that's why I like LCD Sound System, Dillinger Escape Plan. They're bands who are like, you know, they put out a record, they go on tour, they put out a video, they put out a t-shirt, and their fans love them. And their legacy counts. They don't put out 50 records, you know, and it's just like, you know, this song's good and the rest is garbage. Yeah. You know, there's like everything's about quality and intent. And I think that just like a business, you know, if you look at your legacy and you look at where you want to go, it's not that I'm like, oh, I'm not good enough for the top, I'll shoot for the bottom, you know, but it's like, well, no, but if I could be a career musician, you know, and have a 20-year run where I put out like just 5 stellar records or whatever, you know, 10, and people were, you know, they grew with me, they aged with me, maybe their kids got into it, whatever it is, you know, they would have that thing, you know what I mean? They would have that thing where you go, oh, like, you know, this guy always did exactly what he was supposed to do. And like, he never had that moment where he blew up and was like, you know, put out whatever, like the shittiest song you've ever heard.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, and also to speak to what you're saying though, about like organizing and arranging things and having those band meetings, watch the documentary about the Talking Heads.
Oh yeah.
David Brin was such a dick, and you know, he didn't do everything, but if he wasn't such a dick and didn't tell everybody like cut your hair like this and wear this shirt and do this thing, they might not have been the Talking Heads. You know what I mean? Like, I think everybody trusted that like this guy has a vision. You know what I mean? And Tina Weymouth like basically co-wrote Psycho Killer, which is like one of their biggest hits. But at the same time, he came over to her and was like, hey, listen, we're going to write this kind of song. It's going to be about this. This is what it sounds like. Help me write the lyrics. You know what I mean? And then he turned over to somebody else and was like, you need to put on some fucking tan slacks and a big boxy suit. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there is that aspect of like, look, this is the look. This is the sound. This is how we do it.
Especially, I think, if you want to get to like that certain level.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it doesn't particularly matter what you're wearing.
Right.
You know, you can look like shit. You can play like shit. It really doesn't matter. If
Right.
you and your homies are having fun.
No,
cool.
yeah.
But if you do want to get to that next place,
Right.
you got to start thinking about these very absurd things.
Yeah, it's production. It's just it's just like putting on a show. You know what I
Totally.
mean? You got to know where to stand. You got to know where the lights are, and like you got to know what your mic level is. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
the same thing as being a good musician. Like, you need to know how to play your instrument, and you have to understand what it sounds like to other people. Like, I mean, that's really like, it sounds sterile when we talk about it, but it's not. It's like, it's pretty organic. You know?
Yeah, I think that it's not that out of it's like, do you want to watch a movie that looks like shit? Like the camera's
Yeah,
shaky,
the
the
actors
lighting's
suck,
all
yeah.
bad, you know,
Yeah.
like just like the technical things. Like if
Right.
it was, you know, your favorite movie, but reworked, so everything
Right.
was fucked up.
It's
You'd be like,
terrible.
I hate this.
Yeah.
And it's literally the same thing if you see a band and it's just like the lighting's fucked up. They
Yeah.
can't play right. Everything looks weird. The makeup's
Yeah.
garbage. Like, you're going to be like, what the fuck am I watching?
No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I would hate to see my favorite movie redone terribly. It's Blue Velvet, but it's shitty. Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thanks, D.
So, you know, having a background working in LA and being around, I imagine, a certain demographic of people,
Yeah.
how
LA
did
people.
how did that change and like shape the way that you view art in general?
I think. Ooh, I think. No, I know what happened. I kind of got to see like how the sausage was made.
Yeah.
You know, before that, I played music when I was younger, and I had like a couple of it was very different. It was like folky, Bright Eyes kind of sad boy shit. And then I had like a couple of, you know, meetings with labels and went on some tours and did a couple of little things. And then it fell apart, and I took a big gap of time, like 7 years off music. So when I got back into music, I went directly into the pop world because my brother had been working the whole time to do that. That was always his thing. So when I did that, I immediately was working with producers on on major labels, you know, helping songwrite and play instruments for like would-be pop stars, the people who they were developing behind.
Yeah.
You know, we just signed this person, nobody knows about them yet, or they got one big hit on Spotify. So it kind of initially like jaded me a little bit, because I was like, oh, this isn't just somebody like me sitting in their room, you know, like writing a song and it being so personal. It's like 6 30-year-old men in a room
Yeah.
writing a love song for a 19-year-old girl, you know, about her heartbreak that she didn't actually go through. You know what I mean? Like there was this thing where I was like, oh, like it's all bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, but then I came to understand that like that also is just that world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just like when I worked with hip hop guys, the mainstream guys were like that. But like the heads, you know, when I went to the Airliner and I went to Low End Theory and I went to the places where like the real heads were at, like they were the dudes who were like, no, we fucking write our own raps and like we own our own mics and like this shit isn't like, so there was still that there too. Yeah. It was just kind of seeing both sides of the fence. And like once I saw the major label thing, I stopped wanting to do it. I was like, okay, this is cool. I understand it and I can appreciate it and the work that goes, because it's a lot of work. You know, there's a band that I saw getting their record done, and the producer, I lived with him, he did 300 mixes on this track, you know?
Wow.
I mean, 300, like, and it wasn't just him. He was sending it to 8 other producers and they were all like, you know?
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, okay, like, this is not a joke. Like, this is serious. The work that goes into this is like, it really made me appreciate pop music, but also recognizing that other aspect of like what a machine it is. I was like, okay, well, not for me. You know,
yeah,
still not for me. Like it wasn't for me, but now it's really not for me. And then kind of seeing that other side of LA and seeing, you know, like the art gallery show at 3 a.m. where a dude just jumps up and starts freestyling and it's like this crazy DJ and everything comes together and it's like magic, you know, seeing that, I'm like, okay, that still exists and it's harder to get into because it's very like closed circle, but it's also like you're a part of something real and they both exist in the same world and that's okay. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah. I came to peace. At first I was like, no. And then I was like, oh, you know, and now I feel like I have, you know, come down the mountain a wiser man a little bit.
Totally.
Yeah.
So what brought you to our lovely side of the country?
Last year I'd been in LA for like 10 years and my band that I had broke up and we were kind of, you know, we signed to an agency. It was my brother and I. We signed to an agency. We were like getting ready to like do big things. And then it kind of just like abruptly fell apart because, you know, we were just like partying all the time and being LA people.
Tight.
You know what I mean? We were like, we're dark. We were a very dark band and we were going to be very dark people. And then we just were like, we're on drugs and it burned our lives out. And I think my wife, she had a business that like I was supporting her doing all this stuff and her business started to get successful. And she was like, you know, I think that we need to leave. And like, this place sucks. And it's like, you know, it's always on fire and it's like the air is unbreathable and your band's over now. And what are we going to do? And she has family out here and was like, I want to open up a physical space for my online business. And this is the place to do it. And I came out to visit like a month before. We came out to visit family and I went to the Warhol Museum and I was like, okay, like I can live here. Like, this is cool. Like, I didn't know. I like the East Coast was new to me. Like I'd been all over America and all over the world. And I was like, I had no idea. Like we came into the city and it was like red brick and, you know what I mean? Like these giant bridges. And I was like, this is fucking cool. Like I got really excited about it. And so we came back to California and I was just like, all right, we're moving to Pennsylvania. And so we moved out here and like, I guess it's been almost a year now.
Cool.
But we spent 7 months of it on lockdown. So I never, you're the first person, you and like, I've met like 4 other people.
Yeah.
I got really isolated because I was like, I didn't really get to make like close friends or get to like be a part. You know, I went to a couple shows.
Yeah.
But it, you know, it was like, hey, I've seen you before, you know, and then it was like right into lockdown. I was like, well, here I am. So I haven't lost touch with it yet, but I have like, I didn't get to have like a falling in love phase with the city yet. So
yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. Like I guess it's convenient in terms of like, oh, I move into a new city and now I can like have a new house and I can set up and do shit around the house and get my personal goals kind of in a fair. And I'm sure it was convenient for your wife as well, like trying to establish getting the shop shit set up. And it's just a lot of time to kind of like focus, because moving's chaos. Moving down the street could be chaotic.
It's terrible.
I can't even imagine moving across the fucking country. It's like, maybe in some sort of a way, it's kind of cool to have that extra time. But I'm sure now we're all like, well, let's fucking let's get back to it.
Now, well, because I definitely tried to set up a bunch of shows like in the spring, and I was like, new EPs coming out, do a bunch of shows, and then you get those emails that are like, due to COVID, we're not going to be able to fucking do anything. You're gonna stay inside for the rest of your goddamn life. And you're like, oh, yeah. So now I'm like, okay, I had COVID too, so now like I feel free. Like after I had it, I was like, fuck you, like I can survive, like I'm gonna be okay. And even now when I wear the mask, I'm like, now I can slip it down a little bit, because I'm like, I tell people, I'm like, I had it like I have my certificate of health, which I hope nobody else gets it, but at the same time, we moved, it shit happens, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, just life, and that's fine. We'll figure it out. We're all figuring it out, We are talking about moving though. There is a certain amount of, because the business is going good, and I haven't been working. I've been doing like mixes for people, you know what I mean? And like doing side work like on, but I had money in savings that I was like, I'm going to start a new project. I'm going to, like put this album together, and then we're going to hit the road and we're going to do it, and so I have like sort of depleted all of my, you know what I mean? Like I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, fuck, I get a job. Like I got to get back on the grind. Like this is, not to harp on that too much. I'm not trying to like, oh, woe is me, because other people have it way harder, but I am at that point now where I'm like, okay, like redetermined, you know what I mean? Like totally remotivated to start getting things back on the grind.
Where are you going to move?
We were talking about Nashville.
Okay.
Just because I know some people from LA who moved out there, and I was like, maybe we'll go to Nashville. But then we're kind of like, we've been here for a year. We have a nice house. We live in a nice neighborhood, and I'm starting to make friends here and meet people and do stuff. So I'm kind of like, I'm a little on the fence, because I'm like, well, when this opens back up, I feel like I still didn't get to have that experience. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of like, I'm just kind of waiting. Like if we stay in lockdown indefinitely, then I'm like, all right, Nashville, because they're open already. But if we don't, if it opens up here, then I feel like it'll be more of a cause to embrace the city and really kind of become a part of things. You know?
Yeah. What I mean? The whole all this like stuff is, it's open here, but it's not open there.
Right,
it's very strange. Like I totally get it, and I understand. I'm not one of these like, it's not real type of people by any means. But at the same time, I'm very willing to. I don't want to say take a risk, because that sounds like immature.
We don't want to risk somebody else's life, but you're like,
I feel perfectly fine. Going and like, getting a beer somewhere, or just something, I could be in some shit bar with 3 other strangers that are like already distanced anyways.
Yeah.
You know
like
I mean?
Nobody's hanging out.
Yeah. So, but I get it. It's strange.
I get it. It's just, it is strange. And it's just one of those things where I'm like, all right, fine. You know what I mean? This is how life is. Well, I'm going to adapt to it. There is no unity across the map right now in the USA, like as far as like where it's open and where it's not. I know in LA, talking to friends, they're like, everything's shut down. Yeah. But people are still out.
Oh, sure.
So it's like people are just out all the time, eating where they can and doing what they can. But then like half the businesses are permanently closed and boarded up. So I'm like, okay, well, like where is it open?
I mean,
like,
it's getting better here. Today, me and my girlfriend, we have like a crew of people that we've been hanging out with and going to like breweries with on Sundays.
Nice.
And like today we got Indian food at an Indian restaurant, and then across the street there's a meadery. Okay. That some friends of ours own, and we had meat outside in their little patio area.
Hell yeah.
So it was very like it felt reasonably
like normal. Yeah.
Minus like having to wear the mask. But being completely honest, I don't mind wearing the mask because it prevents strangers from talking to me, and that's fucking tight.
That's really funny. I don't care about the mask. I mean, I don't
yeah, it doesn't.
It's a pain in my ass because I don't need to wear it, but like, well, if we could open everything back up, I don't give a shit. Let's wear a mask. Fine. Fuck it. Like, let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my thing is I'm like, okay, like, you know, let's keep grandma and grandpa at home and let the rest of us get dirty. You know what I mean? Let's get in the pit. That's what I need. I need that live experience again. Live music has to happen for me. Like that's my big thing, you know? But
yeah, it sucks because I feel like it was like, you know, the first thing to go. It's going to be one of the last things to come back.
Right. Because it's the most social thing.
I mean, there's already shows happening. I've seen multiple friends of mine that are playing shows. Okay. I mean, they all seem like dog shit shows, if I'm being completely honest.
I was gonna say, right.
They're playing shows.
I didn't know that. That's cool. That's interesting. I couldn't get into the live stream thing. I did a couple of them, and you know, it's just more power to anybody who found success with that. I have a couple of friends who like, you know, no hate at all, do your thing. But for me, it just felt like, hey man, come watch me on TV. And you know, since this was a new project, it was a lot harder to be like, hey, like you just heard about me. Now watch me in my basement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a little bit of that's not for me, but I understand why people are doing it, and I want them to do it. Like
the thing that I thought was really cool that I've been seeing people do, like some people that I know that are promoters, they've been putting together these digital shows. Okay. Where basically they give the bands their login info for like their account. Okay. So like basically you go to like Bob's promotion page on Friday at 7. Right. And then like, you know, one band from New Jersey is going to log on, play a half-hour set. Then a band from Michigan will hop on. Oh, cool. But it's all on the same thing.
It's like a virtual festival.
Yeah. And it's been like, it's kind of a cool way because I did like 2 of those. Okay. And it's neat because, you know, I'm playing, you know, shows for a promoter out of New Jersey. Yeah. So and there's like 30 people in the room that are all from that side of town, and they get to so you're see me do my thing for like a half hour. So it's like I'm actually playing like legitimately. If I played a show in New Jersey, I'd be lucky if there was 30 people there. Yeah, of course. No, so, you know, so it's like it was like I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I have to find out about it. That's the first I've heard of that.
Yeah, that was a cool idea, and there's still people doing that, and I back that. But I know there's like some bands that I'm also friends with where they've been going on like every Friday night, just like streaming their practices and dicking around. And like for some people, like I feel like if you have good banter and you can interact with the live chat and make it like an engaging thing, like that could be fun.
For sure. I just like, for me, it was like, I acted before I thought, and I was just like Instagram live, and it's like me with, you know, 2 like Yamaha YS7s.
Sure.
Like, you know what I mean? And like it like an Ableton push, and I'm just like beep bloop bloop, and I'm singing, and I'm like, this sounds like shit, and like I wouldn't want to watch this. But if they're doing what you're talking about, like I got to look into that, because that sounds a little bit more appealing.
It's like it's productive in the sense that it's a way to still reach new people, and it's not like masturbatory.
No, right, exactly. And that's what my thing was. I was just like, you know, I tried to paint my face. I tried to do a couple of interesting things, and then, you know, I was just like, I don't think I'm gonna do this. Like,
yeah,
I'd rather put out some music.
I also think that you really need to have a good handle on like the vision of your project, and with it being so new, I imagine it's still like, well, I don't know 100% how I want to present this. Or
you know, the thing is like I've always been a very prolific creator, in the sense that the definition of prolific, like I make a lot of shit. But I've also been very like, I'm very much like leap before you look kind of a person. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so there was definitely like, I put out the first single, and I didn't get it mastered or anything like that, and I like barely mixed it. I was just like, fuck it, like who cares? And then it got picked up by Kerrang, and I was like, they found me just randomly, and I was like, oh fuck, like wait a minute, okay, hold on a second here, like maybe I should think about this, because this is kind of what I do, like as a person, like, you know, even with my other projects, like if there wasn't people in the bands, I would have just been like, fuck it, we're going to release everything on Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
there's no I don't give a shit. Like I'll just write 10 more songs. So with this, there was definitely like you're saying, like I'm now starting to figure out everything else. Like, what do I want it to sound like live? Like, what do I want the album to sound like? What have I done so far? You know, representative of what I will do next. Like, is the departure going to be too great for people? Because I've definitely done that in the past. And now I'm starting to understand that, like, I mean, I've probably done like 40 songs since March. And there was definitely like a part of me that was like, I'll just release a song every fucking day. I don't care.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait a minute. I have a chance here. I have a chance to pull back the horses a little bit and like think about what I'm doing. And so now my focus is very much like legacy. Like I was talking about earlier, like what kind of a career do I want? Because now it feels like a career band. It doesn't feel like before I was just like I'm just like a wild dude. And like, you know what I mean? Like I'm a real rock and roller, guys. And like, now I'm like, okay, like when I get on stage finally, you know what I mean? Like, what are the moves going to look like? Like what, you know what I mean? So I'm definitely, I'm bringing in that element of thoughtfulness. So live streams will be until I find out, that I'm going to hold off on them.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. It was a lot of, talk with me and Indigo when we're trying to figure out like, oh, we're going to start releasing music. Like, what is it supposed to look like? How much do we want to release? Because we wrote a whole album,
right?
But we decided just to release half of it.
Okay.
So that way, instead of kind of like,
you have a whole album. What do I do next?
Instead of like throwing it all out there, you know what I mean? It's like, fuck it. Because I think that it's a little bit harder for people to digest to like 40 minutes worth of music, especially 40 minutes worth of music from a new band.
No, it's hard. Because they have to get used to you. They have to find out about you.
So my idea was, let's just split it in half. That way, we can milk this shit for a while, record the second half. This way, we're actually getting stuff out a little bit sooner.
Yeah, right. Right. You're not waiting a year to.
And we can kind of just like test the waters to see if like, does, this work, or should we switch it up? Do people like the dancey stuff? Do they like, this stuff or whatever?
You get to kind of test it in its own way.
Yeah. So that was the plan, and that's where we're at right now.
That's cool. I mean, I think I'm definitely trying to figure out still, because now I have an album and I'm like, okay, is this singles and then I compile it, or is this all at once? Is this an album?
Yeah.
I mean? Yeah. Like I'm definitely in that stage right now where I'm like, I think, because I told myself, I was like, I want to do 8 songs. Like I want to have like 8 or 9 songs like David Bowie or Iggy Pop. Like I want like a classic album of just like 9 songs, 35 minutes, nothing too long, nothing crazy. But I want every track to be like a fucking banger. Like that's why I've written 40 songs, because every time I would write one thing that I was like, this is gonna fucking blow people's minds, I would do 10 that were like, just me being sad or some shit. Like maybe I'm like, I'm fucking sad about, So now I'm like there's been so much attrition, and I've been so cruel and like just so like cutthroat and ruthless about how I produce, that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have 8 tracks and they're fucking bangers, every single one of them. And so I got that, and I'm like, I'm stoked on it. Okay, what the hell do I do next? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, like, what the fuck do I do next? Like, because you get like, you get picked up. The good news is getting picked up on playlists.
Yeah,
has helped. Like, my one track Panther Moderns, that got picked up on some big playlist, and I got like 10,000 streams right off the jump. So I was like, oh, that's cool. The only problem is there wasn't like nobody, they just had that playlist.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, well, I made a couple of fans that way. So with the album, I'm kind of like, I got to be thoughtful about, I want it to be an album. I want it to be LP1, but I also want to be realistic about like what that means to other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, our long-term goal right now, which isn't that far off, is we're going to record the second half of the album. It'll get released online as like just the second half, but then I actually want to like physically get it printed together. So like the physical versions of it will be the whole shebang.
That's what I'm thinking of, is singles and then a vinyl.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if I do a vinyl now, I'm going to have a very expensive paperweight in my basement.
That's the problem too, because it's like, you know, how are we going to move these things?
Right.
You know, we did merch and I was like, okay, we're not playing shows, we're getting t-shirts made. Like, this seems risky, but we've already sold like 30 of them.
That's awesome.
So like,
I mean, that's a win.
Yeah,
that's a win for an indie band.
We definitely, they paid for themselves, so that's cool.
Right. You broke
but it's nice. There's like, you know, it was just kind of like how many people are paying attention,
right?
Because it's one thing to get like, you know, likes and get streams and shit like that, but like, how many people are willing to monetarily invest in this right now?
No, those are real fans.
Out of curiosity, how many people? And I was like, okay, cool, this isn't bad. This is not too bad. So hopefully, you know, down the road, because like I feel like for me, trying to promote a band only online, which is all we can do right now, is like, it's not impossible, but I just don't like it.
No, I don't.
I'm much more of like let's play shows, let's meet people in person and keep grinding that way. Yeah, you know,
for sure. But I mean, I'm in my 30s, so that was my that was my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I was playing hardcore bands when I was like 18, and you know, even before I did any solo shit, like it was always like getting sweaty. It was always meeting, shaking hands, and giving people hugs. And you know, I used to hang out at the hardcore venue that I would just hang out there. I was at every show. So yeah, I'm definitely like, I know you can do it online. I don't know if I want to make a video for every track. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So I'm just sort of right now focusing on like, what will I be happy with like 20 years from now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what is going to make me be like, well, live or die by this. I'm very proud of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's all I can think about right now is like, what do I take pride in? And, you know, am I going to look back on this record and go, oh, fuck, like, what was I doing that? You know, I might, but right now my thought is like, you know, that's why I'm trying to be choosy rather than being prolific.
You know, the funny thing about that though, is that I've been in the position where I look back on something that I did years ago. And I'm like, that's garbage.
Right.
But then a couple more years go by and I think that the old stuff is cool, but the stuff that I thought at that time now is garbage. Now I like the older stuff more than the stuff in the middle. I feel like we have a very similar thing where there was a time where I feel like I was just being insanely self-deprecating and awful to myself. And like, it was coming out in my music.
Yeah.
You know, like I was living basically in like a bad part of town, surrounded by bars, drinking, fucking doing all that shit that I shouldn't be doing all the fucking time. And it just made me like a terrible artist. I mean, like I wasn't any less prolific, but like the content that was coming out is nothing that anybody wants to fucking hear.
And that was Memory Call with me. I'm still sitting on a box of those t-shirts because I was like, it's not like, even now recently, because I've been reworking some of those tracks with a DJ, because I'm like, okay, well, there was something good there that I want to salvage from that like I still like, but I do see, I'm like, why, like, what was in my head thinking that other people would want to sit down and listen to something this bizarre? Really, at the end of the day, like just because you're crazy doesn't mean everybody else wants to, like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, maybe they're interested in knowing what makes you crazy, but they don't want to experience being crazy. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with like a serial killer doc. Like, we want to know what made him tick. None of us want to get killed by a serial killer. You know what I mean?
You know, there's like those people that, you know, are kind of a wild card. Yeah. And they're fun to be around until
until they go wild.
Like the people that you hear stories about, and it's fun that they're around, but then it happens and you're there and you're like, ah, fuck, bad idea.
Yeah. I think I've been that person. I've been that person artistically.
Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Not like, I've never been a volatile. Well, artistically I have been. You know, there's just like my first band back. Like, the reason we broke up was, you know, it was just like throwing gasoline onto two explosive people, and we're brothers and we're both crazy in the same way in our own ways. You know what I mean? So artistically, that was a part of it too. I was like, oh, like, you know.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, Vampire Disco Club, like, you know, I can isolate the cool stuff and figure out the online stuff and sort of, you know, bring all of the elements together to make a megazord of, like, you know, musical proportions.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah, it's so like, I don't know, man. I'm really just want to get back to playing shows because I feel like, you know, we had this whole thing with Some Faith where it was like, okay, we can't play any shows for, we're thinking, you know, 4 or 5 months.
right.
But we like mapped out like everything that we were going to do up until now.
Right.
Just kind of hoping like, well, okay, cool. Like by now, then the shows will come back.
Right.
And we'll pick things back up.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck.
Your grocery list is clear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I guess like now, because like we get together every week and just like, well, what the fuck are we going to do this week?
Right.
Well, I guess,
You're like not going to write a second album.
I guess we're just going to get back to recordings. We have like basically everything demoed out for the second half, but like we need to actually like track the vocals legit and do all that stuff. So it's like, well, I guess we're going to start that.
I think that's, I have like made sure that like I've considered like, oh, I should go into this like a real studio and like do these vocals. But I am like, I've been using my time to go like, well, I think I can do this in my basement and mix and like and get better at mixing. Like that's kind of what I've done is like, since I've cleared my laundry list too, I'm like, what? Because I hit that point this last week where I was like, album's finished. I'm like, I'm not gonna write another fucking record right now. Like, you know what I mean?
But like, how do you promote it? What do you do with it?
Yeah, and I'm like, what do I do? So I actually picked up an Octatrack MK2. Yeah, and I was like, I'm gonna learn how to do this, and then I'm gonna that's what I'm gonna do for the winter time. Is I'm gonna learn this fucking machine, and I'm gonna transfer all of my stuff from this album onto the machine, and I'm gonna reimagine the record while I mix the record. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Like now that's like kind of like, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. And like, I might be getting myself into one of those situations where, you know, you're like, I can fix your car. And then you take it apart and you're like, now you have a broken car. But since it's all digital, I feel like, well, as long as I have the master session, like if I abandon this project halfway through, then it's not going to hurt anybody. Yeah. It'll keep me busy for a month. You know what I mean? So we'll figure it out.
Yeah. That's all we can do. Yeah. Do you ever see yourself being in a position where you like go back to making music with other people, or do you kind of prefer the solo shit?
No, I would play. I had tried to start a band. Like I met people on Craigslist when I first came out here. And I started like a metal band, like a proggy metal band. And I even switched from guitar to bass just to like give myself something new to do. Like I was like, if I can do this now. Yeah. But when lockdown hit, it was like, we couldn't get together. And then eventually we were just like called. I was like, well, they're all cool dudes too. And I was actually sad about it because I was like, man, we should still be friends. You know what I mean? Even if we can't like play in a band. Yeah. And they were like, nah, it's just the band. Like we were just here for the music. And I was like, all right. Like, what a funny thing to say. Cool. Like, I mean, they were cool. They were cool about it. They were just kind of like, you know, one dude was really into cars and the other dude was like, well, I kind of got this job opportunity and I don't know, you know, I'm like, all right, dude, like I'm like a lifer. So for me, I'm like, whatever. Like, yeah, I would play with other people. I would have other people join Vampire Disco Club. If anything, like I really am not, it's not that I'm obsessed with LCD sound system, but I definitely like, I found like a spiritual connection to James Murphy a little while ago. And I was like, not that I want to rip him off, but I definitely have been using his career as a roadmap because I was like, well, he's a solo artist essentially who then found a band to perform live, who then became a real band, who then broke up and became a solo artist again, and then sort of recombined with that band when they came back. And I like, you know, 9 Inch Nails, Queens of the Stone Age, those kind of bands where there is a central leader. There is somebody who kind of is like, look, this is the song. And then, you know, but I got a really good bass player. So he puts his groove onto it. You know what I mean? Or I got a really fucking awesome drummer or keyboard player. And, you know, what they bring is them, that like their movement, their electricity, whatever their energy is. And I would like to do that. I would like, because I feel like, yeah, it's cool to write a funk song, but like I want people to dance. And, you know, I can press a button and that's cool. But that's sort of like the thing with the Octatrack, because I was like, well, what can I do to make this interesting once I do get on stage? Because like at this point, it's just me running Ableton. Yeah, I have like hard synths and stuff like that I use, but I can't do all of them.
Sure.
So I'm just playing like essentially it's just like karaoke, you know what I mean? It's just me like on backing tracks, like, and play this track. So I would like to, and even creatively, if they were like, you know, if I had somebody who was like, yeah, hey, cool, I have an idea for a song and it was sick, like I would, yeah, let's get in the studio too, you know, like let's do it all. I'm like, I always think of like directors, like there's auteurs, right? And then there's collaborators. And Stanley Kubrick was an auteur. He controlled the ever living shit out of everything, but it was perfect.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you have collaborators who are really smart about who they work with. They know like, hey, I'm not a lighting expert, so I have to find a lighting expert. I feel like if I could be one of those things, I would be the auteur collaborator. You know, I want to be the first one to be like, hey, I'm going to, you know, micromanage the fuck out of everything creatively. But once I give it to you, like, do with it what you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is the recording. Interpret that, because like you probably have a better, you know what I mean? A drummer probably has a better idea of playing the drums than I do.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think that, you know, I have a situation where, you know, my hip hop project, it was solo for a really long time. And then eventually I had, you know, a drummer that was like, hey, if you ever want a live drummer for a show, hit me up. And then a bass player was like, hey, if you ever want a bass player, hit me up.
Sure.
And then I had a roommate that played guitar. And then like, and then it's just,
you have a band.
Then I had a band.
Yeah.
And then it was one of those things pretty much kind of similar to LCD Sound System, where like my solo project then became a band.
Right.
But, you know, for a long time, it was hard for me giving up that control over certain things. You know, like maybe sometimes somebody tries to put a different groove on something than what I had in mind originally.
Right.
And like trying to figure out how to interpret that and how to take that. Cause like, this is my art.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, well, if you don't trust the people that you're working with creatively, you shouldn't be working with them.
Exactly. And that's, I think that's my thing though, is like, if I found the right people, I'd be like, yeah, dude, just do it. Like you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm going to tell you how to make the bread. You're the bread man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, fucking get it, bread man.
Yeah.
I don't have, you know, as long as like my thing always, because I have played with other people and just like the dudes I was jamming with recently, like I had to come up with the songs and I could tell that they wanted me to be like a very like a leader. And that was hard for me too, because I was like, I don't want to fucking tell you how to play it, dude. Like,
sure.
For me, it's instinctual. So if it's not instinctual for you, I can give you like a suggestion, but I don't know how to do what you do the way you do it.
Yeah.
And so that was also hard because I didn't like feeling like I had people as machines. There has to be something in between there where people just go like, there's the groove. You know what I mean? Like there's just this fucking groove. Like, you know,
I've definitely had people in the band where it's like, are you here because you want to be in this band or you just want to be in a band?
Right. And I think that's what those guys
the fucking worst.
Yeah. And it's hard because it's like, you know who I like is James Brown. James Brown was a band leader. That's what I want to be. I want to be a classic band leader. You know, a lot of James Brown's vocals were just cues.
Yeah. They
weren't even, you know, you know, they weren't, but that meant something. That meant like the trumpet player goes, you know, and he's yeah, and then the bass player's like, boom, you know, like that's what I like is people who go, look, we're going to put this shit together and you all know what to do. And I'm going to fucking take you down the river. You know what I mean? And we're all going to get there safely and it's going to be great. But you got to trust me and I'm going to trust you to do your part too. And I'm going to, you know, write the songs and I'm gonna bring them to you. You know what I mean? I don't know, baby. You know what I mean? But it's just it's hard to find that, you know. But the reason I started doing this solo is not there was no like because I had that with Memory Cult already. There was no like I initially was like I was on Craigslist everywhere trying to find people to play live. And initially I started out, it was a lot more indie rock sounding. Like I had a couple of songs that I took down that I had released initially that were like, oh, okay. Even if you listen to Ruby Veins, like there's like rock guitars on the chorus and stuff like that. It wasn't until I couldn't find people that I really discovered the sound of the record. And even like the songs that I just put out, like New Romance still has like guitar on it. And I was like, you know, still has guitar and live bass and like a little bit more rock elements to it, more or less. And then when I put out The Good Citizen, I was like, what I do after, like, this track doesn't sound like what I'm going to do next, but it doesn't sound like what I just did. So it's just going to be like the palate cleanser.
Sure.
This is the little bit of sherbet before we have the next fucking course.
Gotcha.
But in that time, I also realized that I was like, okay, like I'm probably not going to find a bunch of people to do this right now. I don't know if I'm staying or leaving or what the fuck's going on. So I have to be able to create a self-contained world. Yeah. Both musically and instrumentally and like artistically, you know what I mean? Like separating it even from the sound, like I have to find a way to make myself interesting to other people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I got to be sexy for the babies. You know what I mean? Like, come on, babies. Like what is Vampire Disco Club? You know, so it's, you know, it's just taking all those little things you learn along the way and going like, this is the one. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've definitely trying to take all of the missteps and mistakes and misfortunes of every other project that I've had.
Sure.
And make sure that none of that happens with some faith.
I think that's how you kind of know though, when you know, like, okay, this is like my thing. Like, because I think that was my thing with my last project is like coming out of a band and then like, I'm going to do a solo record to prove that it wasn't just this flash in the pan thing. Like, I'm really going to do this. And then I was like, well, I just like I figured it out by failing the whole time.
Yeah.
And then not that I'm not proud of any of it, but I just like don't care about it. Whereas with this, I was like, I was just very thoughtful about like, what do I want to give to people? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that's all it is. You just like, I just want to make people happy. You know what I mean? And I've never been very good at, I can write that song that's like, this is how I feel and here are my emotions. But my emotions, I think, are very abnormal compared to normal people's. So people are often like, what are you trying to say, asshole? Like, this is interesting, but it's weird. Yeah. Whereas with this, I'm like, oh, I can tell a story. You know what I mean? Like, I can write about Bill Gates microchipping people. You know what I mean? Like, I can fucking do that. So that's been kind of like the album that I'm working on right now it has some bizarre songs on it, but they're fun. Even if you're just like, what the fuck is that? Yeah. You're still like, oh, but I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Cool. So I found a way to bridge those two things of like, be yourself, as weird as you are, but also does everybody want to shake their ass? You know what I mean? Like, and I think that I'm getting there. So
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as we're rounding the station here on our conversation, one more time, we could pull up this Vampire Disco Club on Spotify. You want to let the good people of the internet know where else they can find you?
You can find me on Twitter at The Beat Absurd. That is The Beat Absurd on Twitter. I'm pretty offensive and irreverent on Twitter. I've officially stopped talking about politics though, because I will not participate in that conversation anymore because what the fuck else can I say? I'm a musician. Who gives a shit? Yeah. And Instagram at VDC Sound System, which I just did today because I've been talking about it so much. Vampire Disco Club. That's it. That's all. I'm only on Twitter and Instagram. And besides that, you know, Spotify, Bandcamp, all that shit. And hopefully before too long, I will be in your neighborhood. And maybe we'll be in the same neighborhood on stage doing it. I don't know. Yeah. Like that's the plan. Like, you know what I mean? Look for me online, but please expect me in the flesh because I've already fucking had COVID. Yeah. And I'm ready to rock, dude. I told my wife, I'm like, everybody's getting a kiss when I see them. When I see the crowd, I'm just going to start grabbing people. And, you know, if they like it, consensually, of course. But yeah, that's it, man.
Cool.
I appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate talking with you. Great to meet you.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my outro and then we'll stop recording because we've been going for an hour. And how long do we expect people to listen?
Yeah.
And that is all, folks. Thanks so much for listening. One more time, Eric, Vampire Disco Club. Thank you for being here. I'll be back again in a couple days with another conversation and some other asshole. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Syke. Start the beat. 2020. Woo woo. Thanks for listening. And we're done. That's a podcast.
Nice.